Hello, and welcome to another episode of Unboxing with Paul. Today, I bring you the Moto G Stylus, Motorola's replacement to the G7 Power. Released in April 16th of 2020, I don't think this poor phone knew the kind of market it was about to enter. Let's take a heavy hitter in the low mid-range. It comes with Android 10.0. For those of you that weren't aware, Android has elected to stop with the candy-like namings for their operating systems and now instead switch back to letters of the alphabet. This time around being called Android Q. A great looking phone, the Moto G Stylus has a 2300 by 1080 6.4 inch IPS display along with dual speakers tuned by Dolby. Just like many new Android phones, it wants to give us this new way of navigating the phone called gestures, instead of the 3 buttons at the bottom of the screen that we have come to expect and love. Thankfully, we can just say nope and go back to our comfort zones instead of embracing the future. The G Stylus has kept a fairly similar, if not exactly the same dimensions as the G7 Power, aside from the camera placements and a stylus that has been tucked away in the lower right hand corner. I must be the bearer of bad news and inform you that the legendary 5000 milliamp battery that came with the E5 and the G7 Power will not be present here. Instead, we have a modest 4000 milliamp battery that is more on par with similar smartphones in this range. Do not be disheartened by the loss in power though, as the G Stylus more than makes up for it with its leap from 32 to 128 gigabytes of storage, along with 4 gigabytes of RAM, coupled with Snapdragon 665 octa-core. We can see that this phone follows a recent trend of making the phones as shiny as possible, while not making them very smudge or scratch resistant. At the very least, they've kept the fingerprint scanner. The main camera is rated at 48 megapixels. It has an ultra wide rated at 16 and a dedicated macro camera rated at 2 megapixels. It does have a portrait mode, just like many other phones. Allows you to blur your background. The picture is clear and sharp. Mind you, it's no iPhone 11, but it's a lot better than what you think it would be. And the macro shots actually come out surprisingly clear. Not gonna lie to you here, I tend to prefer Motorola phones, as they often run stock Android operating systems, meaning there's hardly any bloatware or unnecessary apps. As you can see here, really the only apps are there are the absolutely necessary ones, and a few of the Metro by T-Mobile apps, which I believe this phone is carry locked for 6 months, according to the policy. The reason why I'm saying that I prefer this stock Android experience as opposed to like a Samsung or an LG is those companies often install things like Bixby, the LG voice assistant, stuff like that. Again, the only extra things that he's seen here are very, very few. 1, 2, 3, three carrier apps that I can see. Other than that, the only other one that I see that is strictly installed by Motorola would be Motorola notifications and the Moto app. However, I believe these do enhance your experience. There's actually a one that what Motorola calls peak display, which is a feature that you used to wake up your phone with just a tap. And that's not enabled, of course. Where is it at? Now, a lot of phones have a tap to wake feature. That's that's nothing new. But what sets it apart is that the screen stays completely black and only the pixels that are being used are illuminated. This helps obviously conserve the battery and in addition to not blinding you in case you need to check the time that it is in the middle of the night. Let's go ahead and check it out. There we go. So what we can appreciate here is that, again, the screen is still completely black. It is not turned on. It's completely black, again, except for what is exactly being used. And this is pretty handy. And if you do have notifications here, they will show up, such as your text messages, Facebook, social media, stuff like that. It's pretty neat. Also, for those of you not familiar with Motorola, there's quite a lot of gestures that again do come in handy. They're not just they're not gimmicky in my opinion. One of my favorite ones is that when the phone is asleep, you can literally just karate chop it and the flashlight comes off, and if you karate chop it again, it comes off. And I believe that if you think you twist it twice and the camera comes on. So and like some other stuff that most other phones also have, such as a 3-finger screenshot. Does don't have it enabled? No, not yet. No, we don't have it enabled yet. There we go. And again, one more feature that I really think that brings this phone to 2020 is the Moto Game Time Toolkit. It allows you to block notifications and calls while you are gaming. If you're worried about missing, some important phone call, you can always make an exception for the block calls to allow that one very important phone call to come through, which is all the way at the very bottom. Let's go ahead and turn on the settings for it. You can block all the notifications. You can block calls. It's very nice, and it also allows you to lock the brightness. I can't imagine how many times I've been playing a game and all of a sudden the brightness changes. It's very annoying. I have to go adjust the brightness again, or if not, I'm getting a notification from work or something silly that that just really impacts my gameplay. And I realize that it's 2020 and that most people use Bluetooth headphones. However, some may be very, very glad to find out that it still happens to include a headphone jack. Even though they have Stylus and all this, other stuff going on. It's nice that they manage, to keep the headphone jack, for those rare times when we do use. Another thing that brings the phone to 2020 is Wi-Fi AC and Bluetooth 5.0. But I do have to mention that unfortunately there is no NFC, so there is no Google Play here. I'm sorry. It just has no NFC. Why? Probably it was either one thing or another, and I guess our NFC was something that wasn't at the top of the priority list, so I got the X. I know obviously I didn't cover all of its features or go into depth into any given one. However, there's any things that I, neglected to cover, any things that I should, cover them in the next video, go ahead and let me know down in the comments. Until next time.